You sent a clear message. You voted for a plan that respects you and respects your hard-earned money.
Ooh, anytime a conservative says something like that, you should definitely keep an eye on your wallet, because they are not looking to save you money. They're looking to save polluters money. And that's exactly what they did, handing a multi-billion-dollar tax cut to the most polluting corporations in Ontario. Let's take a closer look, shall we? Hello and welcome to Demand Better. Yesterday we looked at 3 of the first bills that were passed by the Ontario Conservative government, just to look at what their priorities are. So you can check out that video in the description. But for the moment, what we're going to go over is just the very end of that. There's this Compassionate Care Act that is listed as the third thing, even though it isn't passed in 2018, so it is not the third bill they passed. It is eventually passed in 2020, and it has to do with palliative care, meaning that in 2020, they retroactively made this the third bill in an attempt to make it look like they gave a crap about old people who are dying at all. Like, why would you wait until 2020 to make your Bill 3 actually happen, unless you're trying to claim credit for finally dealing with the health of elderly people and dying people in 2020, the year of this gigantic pandemic? So essentially, this is just them trying to make themselves look good because they were so late on that particular issue. But what's the next one right here? Cap and Trade Cancellation Act 2019. Let's take a quick look at that. So, the cap and trade was essentially, I don't need to get into it too much, it was a system similar to a carbon tax that was meant to limit the emissions that Ontario would put out, and it was in an agreement that was set up between Quebec, California, and Ontario. So this was a pretty powerful agreement that the previous government had arranged, and it was haphazardly dismantled by the Conservatives in a way that was actually extremely expensive to you and me. Let's take a look at exactly how expensive. But first, why was it expensive? Well, basically, with respect to the wind down of the cap and trade program, the matters addressed by the act include the following: the retirement and cancellation of the instruments. Okay, that's standard. The payment of by the Crown of compensation. So essentially, every single thing that they wanted to dismantle, they had to pay someone in order to be able to dismantle it because they had contracts with all of the... Do conservatives not understand what a contract is? Like, literally, they are ruining the credibility of this province. It is insane what they're allowed to get away with. So, they are paying out an insane amount of taxpayer money in order to break all of these contracts. Not only do they know that they're breaking contracts, but they are literally writing 2 separate sections of the law, basically saying, don't sue us, you can't sue us. If you're already suing us, we're canceling the lawsuit. That's what these things say, preventing any cause of action from arising against the Crown or specified related persons. That means the Conservative Party, probably, because they don't want to get sued for doing all this insane nonsense either. And then extinguishment of any existing proceedings and the prevention of any future proceedings. So, like, this is very shady stuff that they were not really properly called out on at the time. Ontarians need to know that our credibility is at stake whenever the Conservatives are breaking contracts and doing whatever the hell they want. Let's keep looking. So, actually, it just goes into the deep details of it. I'm not going to go into that because I've got something wild to show you. So the budgetary impact to Ontario. So this was the expected losses that canceling this program cost us, you and me as a taxpayer. It was expected to be, and turned out to be, at least, a total of $3 billion over fiscal years 2018, 2019, through to 2022, due to the cancellation of the cap and trade program. For the fiscal... Okay, so I don't need to go into specific detail right there because we've got a little graph. And the graph shows us that we literally lost almost $1 billion in revenue, and this also includes the payouts that we had to give. So we had to give out something like $200 million in payouts to random corporations, many of whom were polluters, and what did we get for it? We cut $600 million out of the provincial budget during a time when we're about to go into a health crisis, during a time when the Conservatives are complaining about, oh no, there's a deficit crisis, we're spending way too much money, we're just gonna have to cut education, healthcare, and all the public services that the ordinary people rely on, all of the things that you and I, you like waiting in lines at the DMV. These are the reasons why there are lines at the DMV. This is the reason why things don't work, is because they keep getting cut back, because the Conservatives want to give a gigantic tax cut to polluters. So that $841 million, by definition, by the nature of this program, is a gigantic tax cut that this guy handed directly to the most polluting corporations in Ontario. He spent your money to pay polluters to put poisons in your children, in your grandparents. This is actually the ridiculousness of our political system. We need to do something about these corporate governments who essentially show up, hand out all of our money to their corporate buddies, and then we are left holding all the public debt at the end of the day. This is unacceptable, and something has to be done about it. And you and I can do something about it. Remember, there's an election just in 2022. We can do better than Ford. We can stop the con. We can stop getting conned in every bloody election. Let's continue. So, not only are we losing $3 billion over 4 years, can you imagine if the Liberals had lost $3 billion in revenue over just 4 years? We would never hear the end of it. But Conservatives get to do it, and then nobody says a single word about it. And then people believe that we only have a liberal media. No, we have a lib-con media. It is both. It is conservative and liberal, and they will not allow any other party to have a real voice in this system. Fiscal Restraint. Doug Ford's Ontario government spent billions more than the Liberals did previously, while they were cutting services, cutting taxes for the rich, making every single thing that you experience worse, and making your costs higher while handing a bunch of money to the rich. That's literally what these guys did. And they added to our public debt to do it. If you care about fiscal responsibility, if you care about your children's future, if you care about the government functioning in a non-wasteful, in any way positive way, guess what? You have to get rid of the cons, and you can't just replace them with libs. We need more NDP, we need more Greens, we need other progressive parties that are willing to show up, not just take corporate donations, actually fix the problems, not just help the people who were profiting off of the problems continuing to exist. Anyways, that's today's Demand Better. Please subscribe, please comment below if you have any thoughts, and I hope that you have an absolutely excellent day.